Deep in the heart of the black pine forest stood a lone watchtower, weathered by time and cloaked in mystery. For decades, the villagers of Grey Hollow avoided it, whispering stories of how the tower's first and only watchman, Elias Grigg, had vanished one stormy night. Legend had it that Elias had been tasked with guarding the forest against raiders, but the attacks never came. Isolation consumed him. They said he began to hear whispers in the wind and see shadows that didn't belong. One night, during a fierce thunderstorm, a crimson light was seen glowing in the top of the tower. When the villagers investigated the next morning, they found no sign of Elias, just a cracked lantern, still faintly warm, and deep claw marks gouged into the stone walls. For years, no one dared to go near the tower until a young hunter named Mara grew tired of the superstitions. Determined to prove the tales were nonsense, she climbed the forest trail one autumn evening and entered the tower, armed only with a lantern in her courage. The air inside was heavy, reeking of damp stone and something metallic. Mari ascended the spiral staircase, the creaking wood groaning beneath her boots. At the top, she found the watchman's chamber, undisturbed for decades. A rusted telescope pointed out toward the darkened woods, and Elias's journal lay open on the desk, its ink smeared and water damaged. Mara flipped through the pages, but one entry stood out. "The light in the forest watches me. It whispers my name. Tonight, I will confront it." As Mara read, her lantern flickered, the room chilled, and a low, guttural moan echoed up the staircase. She spun around, hard hammering, but saw nothing. She stepped onto the balcony to catch her breath, but the forest below seemed wrong. The trees swayed, though there was no wind, and faint, glowing eyes blinked from the shadows. Suddenly, a heavy thud resounded behind her. Whirling round, she saw a figure standing in the doorway of the chamber, a man in a tattered watchman's coat. His face was obscured by shadows, but his eyes burned like embers. He raised a skeletal hand, pointing toward the forest, and his voice rasped like dry leaves. "It comes for you now." Mara ran, her lantern swinging wildly, as the watchtower seemed to twist and stretch around her. The stairs never ended, the walls groaned, and whispers filled the air, chanting her name. By the time she burst through the front door, the crimson glow had returned to the tower's peak. She sprinted back to Grey Hollow, babbling about the figure and the forest's shifting shadows. The villagers shook their heads, thinking her mad until the next morning. The tower was gone, replaced by a smoldering crater. Some say the forest claimed Mara, though others insist they see a new figure patrolling the woods at night, a young woman in a hunter's coat, her eyes glowing faintly red.